Hey Atari fans, welcome back to another speed build video. Guys, in this one we're going to be continuing the trend from our last video, which is to go back in time, look at some of our old builds, and see if we can maybe do, well, some slight improvements. Now, given that it's getting cold outside, I thought it was a good time to go back and look at our snowy cabin, which needed some fairly serious updates. Now, one of the coolest things about looking back at these builds like this is to be able to see the contrast from old builds to what I do now, and particularly see the differences in terms of the quality with texturing, with some of the details, and of course the roofing. But the most important thing that I can see is doing some extra work around the landscaping. This is something I didn't really used to do that much, but now when I look at it, it's one of the biggest differences that I notice builds. Now guys, of course, if you want to catch me building any of these builds live, you can do so on Twitch, the link down below. And if you're enjoying any of the content here on the channel, guys, feel free to hit the like, the subscribe, or the little dinner bell thingy so you can know when the next video hits the old universe. Now guys, one last thing before we jump into the build, don't forget to stay until the end of the video because I will be covering all of the materials that I used in this build, so it's a good idea to kind of stay around and actually check that out in case you decide to make your own version. Okay, with that, I promise I will shut up. Let's get to the build. So with our comfy, cozy snow cabin done, I am going to, of course, as promised at the beginning of this video, highlight some of the materials that I used. Now guys, before we move on, I do encourage you to pause the video here should you choose to get a closer look at some of the materials. Maybe there's some things you're not familiar with, or you're going to try to do a replicate build down the line. So everything you need is right here. So again, I do encourage you to take a closer look. Now guys, as you might imagine, a build like this that has quite a bit of detail is going to use a number of different materials. So a lot of wood went into this build. You can see we used some rich mahogany, some boreal, as well as some ebon wood and some spooky wood. We even threw in some dynasty wood, as well as some rich mahogany beams. I also took advantage of some background walls with some fence and some rich mahogany wall. And I also went with a variety of different wallpapers, which I think give a nice sort of touch to a lot of builds in terms of details. And it's something I recommend that you try to play around with as well. So that, I would say, Krampus horn wallpaper and some Grinch finger wallpaper are pretty fun to use. Now guys, in terms of paints, I used some white paint, gray paint, brown paint, some black paint, and some sky blue and deep teal paint, but you can really use whatever floats your boat here. It's really completely up to you. That is one of the benefits of building Terraria. With that said, that covers all of the materials, so let's move on, shall we? Alright guys, so there you go. There is our snowy cabin done. Again, I really love to see the contrast between the old build and the new one. It just, I don't know, it just looks so much better. I think there's obviously some design differences, of course, but in general, it's just the amount of detail and work around the landscaping, around the texturing in the builds that I think really just makes this one stand out. That's just one guy's opinion. So let me know what you guys think of the build down below in the comments. What'd you like? What would you change? Or maybe what would you like to see in the next build? And with that, we're done. So guys, thanks so much for staying until the end of this video. And as always, thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. We will see you in the next one.